All right. Today I'm sitting with Sharon. Sharon, give us a brief biography of yourself, or just like, what are you up to?
Right now, I am managing a bakery in a grocery store in Sandpoint, Idaho. However, I grew up in Upper Michigan and worked in a grocery store with my parents and been in food my whole life.
What were your parents like?
Very strong, loving, God fearing, so much strength that it still holds us through today. People that you could talk to at any point in time about anything.
What was your childhood like?
Pretty cool. I mean, my parents owned a grocery store, so we had to work in there between school and things like that, and basketball practice and everything. But I'm the youngest of 8, 4 girls, 4 boys. So got slapped up by my brothers every now and then. And but an awesome family. A lot of us, and we all take care of each other.
Where did you grow up at?
Upper Michigan.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little town called Berland. And if I stayed there my senior year of high school, my senior class would have had 7 kids.
Is that true?
Very much so.
That's a pretty small town.
Very much so.
What was that like to grow up in a small town like that?
When you're young, you don't like it because everybody knows everything about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, when you look back, you also realize that because everybody knew everybody, we were there to support each other.
Mm-hmm.
And even today, through Facebook and stuff, reconnecting, you still go back to those same old stories, the same kids you grew up with, that you drank with, that you snuck around and smoked with, because that's who you are.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what it's like to grow up here, for sure, but on a much grander scale. Why did you leave your small town? What made you want to leave?
No opportunities for future.
Uh-huh.
Even to go to college, you had to go at least an hour away for a technical college, but to do anything more, you had to go to a bigger town. So I moved about an hour and a half away to a town in northern Wisconsin, and just at least to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing where there is nothing for businesses and things. There's nothing for jobs. So I just went for a job.
Mm-hmm. What was that like?
All right. You know, it's a place that we'd gone all the time when we were growing up. We went to the doctor there. You went to the dentist there and stuff. So you kind of knew the town. But tourist area, absolutely beautiful. It's a island city.
Mm-hmm.
So water everywhere. A little rough in times when there would be drought because nobody could camp and do campfires. But then if the winters were good, you had skiers and snowmobiles, so it made great tourists there. If you didn't have good weather, it could kind of suck.
Mm-hmm. What was your young adult life like? What did you just talk about that?
Probably from teens on, of course, you know, there's high school, and loved ice skating, basketball, cheerleaded. Yeah, me, a cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of simple, natural kind of family, township. But then, you know, of course, as you get a little older, there's plenty of drinking that goes along.
Mm-hmm.
And so I drank my share, and by 21, 22, I was pregnant. And decided I was going to be a single mother, and have been since.
How'd you get pregnant?
Sex.
Well, duh. I took biology.
Okay. Yeah, thought I fell in love, but wasn't the right person, and he didn't want to be a father at that point, so just made the decision to do it on my own.
Why did you think you were in love?
Oh, because, you know, he's cute, he's nice, he had money, you know, just one of those that you thought was the right guy.
How'd you meet him?
He was my brother's friend.
Okay.
And my brother always said, none of my friends are good enough for you. I guess my brother was right, but don't tell him that.
So what was it like to be a single mother in your situation?
I would partly tough because you have to make all the decisions and you hope you're doing things right, which we all doubt ourselves as we, just in everyday life. But being a single parent, you really doubt yourself, and you don't have that other person to fall back on to say, yes, this is the right thing, this is how we should do it, or whatever. But I got totally blessed in the fact that my mother let me move back in with my daughter, and she helped, as well as other family members. So between, yes, of course, had to use babysitters, but I still had them to fall back on if I had to stay later at work or that type of thing. So it was really nice to have them there. And, that old adage of it takes a village to raise a child is so true, because all of my family has helped me raise my daughter, and I couldn't be more proud of her.
Was her father in her life at all?
No.
Not at all?
Not at all.
How do you think that's made her as a person?
I think stronger.
Uh-huh.
I know she still has questions. I know she still wonders about things, but it's not a subject she brings up often, and I don't worry about it. I just remind her that I've always been there for her, and I made that decision that I would always be there for her.
Where's her father now?
In Iowa.
In Iowa. Do you know anything about him?
Just from what I knew all those years ago. I don't keep track. I don't look. That's the past, and I don't need to go back there.
Mm-hmm. What kind of questions does she have?
Well, of course, who he is, what he's like, and that kind of thing. And
so
why
she's
not
never
to be
even
a
met
father.
him at all?
Nope.
Huh. Interesting. What does your daughter do now?
My daughter is a teacher,
Uh-huh.
and she is teaching English in Istanbul, Turkey. She has been teaching abroad for 4 years.
Wow.
Just got a promotion. She will be head of her department and signed on for 2 more years of teaching there.
What's that like? Because you went down there.
Oh, I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, it's a huge metropolis city.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. It's huge. So kind of like a New York City on a grander scale, but wonderful things to see and do. So much of the biblical world happened there. And when you go and there's like this great big Roman wall, or you're there on the Bosphorus Straits, and you get to take water taxis or the ferry across to go to the other side, because of course Istanbul is half in Europe and half in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to both, and it's a seaside city. You watch them go and bring their fresh fish in, and you go to the market and get fresh fish and fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff. But yet then there are still grocery stores and the mosques. I mean, in the United States, we have a church on every corner. Well, they have a mosque on just about every corner.
What's a mosque?
It is a Muslim church, if you will. They're a place of worship.
Mm-hmm.
The most well-known is the Blue Mosque, which is in Istanbul.
Cool.
And not because of its color.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tile on the inside is blue.
Mm.
So I like little trivia things that are different, weird, unique.
Like what?
I believe in aliens, and I believe
we'll
in
get to that.
Bigfoot.
Let me ask you that then. Do you have any? That's because that's one of the questions, right? Do you have any alien or ghost stories?
But I also believe, it's just the difference in things in life, the things that you take for granted, but yet you see them in a different light. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about going to Turkey is, we have food here, and I love food. We all know I love food, and I love to cook and bake and everything else. But then you go there, and there's so many other flavors and textures, and even their ice cream isn't the same as our ice cream. It's like elastic.
Totally.
But a really good flavor.
Yeah. I was just talking to Bill about that, about how he wants to make a program where people out of high school get paid to go to like across the country or across the world and see new things, because we're just so like closed off in America. I just feel like we're just fed one point of view, and it's pretty negative.
Well, I don't feel that.
Okay. Why not?
I just feel that there are lots out there. I feel that there's so many opportunities. It's a matter of whether we choose to take them or not. Mm-hmm. Right now in our world, we're talking white supremacy and everything else. And, I never thought I had white privilege. I've been a single mom and had no support or anything else and chose to do what I do. I don't see white privilege at all. Mm-hmm. I also am not a person that judges on color. I judge on who you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell me you're going to do something, do it. If
Mm-hmm.
you know, don't lie to me. Everybody that knows me knows. If you want to tell me, Sharon, I skipped work because I decided to go to Glacier with my friend. Okay, I get it. Not that I'm happy, but I'd rather that than somebody go, oh, I was homesick and dying and I just couldn't get up. And then you see, oh, I'm in Glacier with my friend so-and-so. You know, so, you know, I just believe that there are things. And, you know, I look at my daughter. She is the product of a single parent household. But because of different programs, she got to go to college a little early. She got to graduate a little early. So by the time she's 21, she's teaching in high schools. And then decided to step forward and go to other country to teach. Mm-hmm. There's lots of people that never get to leave their cities, never get to leave their countries from everywhere else. Mm-hmm. So I think the opportunities are there. It's whether we choose to use them or not, or to even be able to, as we know, I don't ask for help. But if you ask for help, there's so many people there that will help and support you in whatever you choose to do. So why not just buckle down, say, I want to do this, and show somebody what you want to do, why you want to do it, and ask, how do I get there? Mm-hmm. You know? So I don't see closed off. I just see that sometimes we get in our little ruts, or if parents get in a rut and the other family members or our friends, and they go, oh, do you really want to do that? Or I don't know if you'll like that there. When my daughter first said she was going to Istanbul, Turkey, I said, oh, my Lord, turbans and camels. My daughter went, Mother! So what did we do? We went and bought a book at the bookstore on Turkey. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, duh, they have cars, they have buses, they have boats, they have skyscrapers. Mm-hmm. You don't think that because we never took the time to learn all these other countries and,
totally.
and all their lifestyles. And you go there and people, it's a little different. Which, I mean, everywhere we go is, even in the United States. Mm-hmm. But there were some really wonderful people as well, and some really wonderful opportunities and things to see and do. And so my philosophy late in my life became do a little more of it.
How old are you?
I am 54 years old.
Okay.
However, I tell people I'm $39.95 plus shipping and handling.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that. That's hilarious.
I'm old, but I try to be young at heart.
Uh-huh.
I'm serious about the work that I do, but I also believe get in, get it done, and then screw around and have fun. And if we have to be there for 8 hours at a time with people, let's enjoy each other and have a good time.
What made you like that way?
I don't know. I think a part of me is I'm not as free-spirited as definitely not as you. Mm-hmm. But I dare to be different. Mm-hmm. I wanna laugh. I like to sing. I don't sing well, but I like to sing.
Of course.
You know, the other day at work, there was no good music, and somebody said, "We need music." So I started singing Christmas songs. It's 100 freaking degrees, and I'm singing Christmas songs.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's very unique. I like that. That's a good attitude to have.
You try.
Uh-huh.
But then when I go to work and I have to be serious at work, I'm very serious at what has to get done, when it has to get done. And sometimes I blow up about that, but I'm getting much better at that. I think age just keeps improving that for me.
Of course.
But I'm not high strung, but when it comes to work, I'm very matter-of-factly. It has to happen, and I want to never let anybody down, which mm-hmm. sometimes can wear on me. But I always want to do what I can for not only my employers, the customer, but also the people that I work with. Mm-hmm. They're very important to me, and without them, I wouldn't enjoy my job. I wouldn't be able to do my job well. So, yeah, there's days we all tick each other off, but in the end, I think we still care about each other.
I love it. What about the aliens and ghosts? You got any stories? What do you love about the weirdness of life?
Well, there's so much out there that I can't believe God created only us. Uh-huh. And throughout history, there have been too many stories. The words are eluding me right now. The drawings, the cave drawings,
hieroglyphics.
Yes, thanks.
Uh-huh.
They're all over the world
Mm-hmm.
from so long ago that we can't believe there isn't something else there.
Mm.
And if we do say to ourselves that there can't be something else there, we're limiting ourselves, we're closing ourselves off, and the possibility of not believing. I don't know. I'd rather believe that there might be something out there a little mysterious and different. So when I retire, I'm going Bigfoot hunting, I think.
Bigfoot hunting.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you have any specific example, like any ghost stories you've experienced, or any just any what is it called? Paranormal?
I did work at a restaurant where sometimes the TV would go on or off at different times.
Mm-hmm.
And then one night when we closed up, there's like 5 of us sitting at one end of the bar drinking. And at the other end of the bar, restaurant's empty. The other end of the bar, a glass falls and breaks on the floor. But it wasn't the very first glass in the row. It was the last glass in the row. So, and there's times, there was a time I was cake decorating at a grocery store in Wisconsin, and I had to go into the photo lab for something, and everybody laughed because they're like, yeah, we need to go to the photo lab. And okay, felt super weird. It felt creepy. I felt dirty, nasty. Just didn't like it at all. And it happened a couple more times. So finally one day I asked my minister about it, and I said, this keeps happening, and I can't figure out why. So, like I said, very religious. I mean, I'm not super, super religious, but I'm very strong in my faith. Let's put it that way. I don't want to sound like a nutcase. But so the next time I decided to say the Lord's Prayer before I went in, I didn't feel bad at all. Felt pretty good. Well, lo and behold, a little bit down the way, I find out that the gal who manages the photo lab is a high priestess in Wiccan.
What does that mean?
They worship the devil.
Ah.
So was that a presence that I was feeling? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But every time after that, I had a chat with God before I went in there.
What has made you so faithful? What examples in your life have you felt God?
The faith that my parents had, and seeing them, even with my father being terminally ill, he still taught Sunday school and catechism, still had the church choir. And after he had to file disability and we lost our grocery store, my father went back to college to become a minister.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mother went back to college to become a nurse. So I look at that and go, even at 50 years old, they didn't give up and they just kept putting their trust and faith in God, and it all worked out. Mm-hmm. And every time I feel like I think I need to take control of my life, I screw it up a little more. So the more I seem to just trust in God and let him handle it, maybe it's just a better feeling, but it seems like he's got it under control. He doesn't need my help. Mm-hmm. And so to me, just the more I keep building and thanking and praising, the better I feel. So whether, there's people that say, there is no God, or why would you believe in it? I came with this philosophy that I would rather believe in a God and pray to that God and talk to that God and look to him for support and have him not be there in the end than to not do it and him be there in the end, and then you're screwed. So I'd rather have trust and faith in somebody. And I do believe that there is a higher power, whether you want to call it God or Allah or anybody else. I do believe there's a higher power out there, and that we need to put our trust and faith in that person. Look at the Native Americans and the Mayans. They had sun gods and moon gods, so they all believed in a higher power.
Totally. I totally believe that. I cannot accept that we're just like gorillas on a rock floating through a vacuum in the darkness of space. Like, that's so lame. That's even more far-fetched than there is something, there's Allah, God, Mussolini, right? Just anything.
Yeah. And what a lowly existence that would be, to just think that we were just gorillas on this earth.
Totally. And
Yeah, I'm saying, and you think that there would be nothing more, or that we wouldn't, our evolution would just stop right here. That's heck. I don't want to give up on that. Give up on everything.
Why do you say that?
that it doesn't stop. That we
Uh-huh.
hope it doesn't stop.
Well, just yeah.
Well, if you look at even just our humanoid past,
Mm.
when you go from, you know, hand carving your own tools, trying to figure out how to make fire, to the fact that now, hell, the Jetsons. Look at the Jetsons. My era grew up watching the Jetsons, and they talked to each other on the phone and got to see each other, and we're like, whoa, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
And we do it.
Totally.
So we must have evolved somewhere along the way. Look at where the computers came in and everything else. So it's just, I believe that we just have to keep evolving and growing, because otherwise, why? I mean, we'd have no motivation to even move forward and try something new.
Totally. It's that is so true. It's if like what is it? It's like if we were immortal, we would never do anything. We'd be like, "Oh, I'll go climb Mount Everest 300 years from now. I don't need to do it. I have plenty of time over the rest of eternity." And so, death does give you that, come on, you got to keep going. You only got this amount of time left,
Mm-hmm. So you might as well enjoy what you can. And, some of us, I made decisions in my early life that didn't leave me in a good financial position, and in which I still pay for today. But after my first trip abroad, I decided I like this. So I've done it a few more times, and I want to keep doing it. So to me now, just even growing and getting better financially set, just so that someday I can do more traveling. I never really had a big bucket list to travel. I now have a nice bucket list to travel.
Where do you want to go? Your number one spot?
My number one spot would have to be Germany.
Yeah?
Yes, because Germany is my heritage. I'd like to see some of the things there. Their food is fantastic. Hell, there's lots of fantastic food all over the world. What am I saying? I can go everywhere. But I think more, it's mountainous, but yet then there's also the fields like, we have. And just another side of beauty.
Totally.
I want to see the Berlin Wall. I kind of want to go to Auschwitz.
I really want to go
but
to
I'm not
Auschwitz.
100%, because I've heard that people is so emotionally racking on your body.
That's why I want to go. I totally feel like, sorry to interrupt you. Just like if you just go, they've just like I don't know if you've seen Schindlers List. Like I watched that movie and it just totally changed my perspective of who I am, what is like my appreciation for even breathing, right? So I really want to go to Auschwitz and just stand there and feel that energy there more. Like I want to do that really bad.
Seeing, I do that as well, but I also worry for the fact that my heart will break so much for them. And which it does, just even knowing the stories and watching Schindler's List over again. It's just as body wrecking as the first time I saw it.
Totally.
And even though I had nothing to do with it, but it is part of the German heritage, somehow in the deep, dark depths, I feel partly responsible that some of my family may have been part of this. And it just...
I don't even think it's that. I would say it's just because we're all the same. We're all human. And knowing that humans are capable of that, that's what it is for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think our society is doomed with everything going on?
No.
Why not?
First of all, I think there's too many people that'll stand and fight for what they believe in, whether I agree with it or not, which is a good thing either way. But sometimes I also wonder if we make ourselves our own mess. Do I believe that we may have a possible civil war again? Sure. History repeats itself. It's done it multiple times before. We're not any more immune to it than somebody else. But I just feel that at some point, something's going to hit rock bottom, and everybody's going to pull together again. I was there to see the aftermath of 9/11.
Where were you during 9/11?
9/11, I was working in a restaurant in northern Wisconsin, and when it first came over the news, or someone had come back into the kitchen and told us what was going on, we're like, no, this isn't possible. And you could just feel it in your body that you almost knew it was true, but you didn't want to believe it. And then she was talking to her mother on the phone, who was at home watching the next plane go into, that was the Pentagon there.
It was the Pentagon.
And it was like, oh my gosh. And you could just hear her crying over the phone. And we weren't even, it's on somebody else's ear. And my first inclination was I wanted to lock the doors, go grab my daughter, go by my family. But on the other hand, I knew I couldn't put that much fear into my daughter. And it was eventually going to be okay. And it did. And look at how we pulled together.
Totally.
But sometimes I think we all get our own agendas, right or wrong, and we divide ourselves. But then there will be something that will pull us all together. It has to. Or civilization, we just start killing each other off and be done with it till we're down to nobody. Then we're, those morons on the planet that just, move ourselves into extinction. So I do believe that there are rough times ahead. Do I feel that that's the end of us? No. And we'll pull ourselves back out. It's just as to when, let's wait and see.
What was your rock bottom in your life?
It's not as bad as other people's, but at one point I prayed that I would have a car accident so I didn't have to tell my parents or my family, because my father had passed away before that, but to tell my family that I was pregnant out of wedlock. And they were all so supportive afterwards. And then I look back and I go, why did I ever think of that? Because first of all, that's not even me to even think of harming myself for something going wrong. A depression, I would just sit and, watch TV, veg out, eat too much, whatever, but never think of harming myself. So that seemed like a really stupid answer there. But that was my rock bottom. And my second rock bottom, I think, would have to be at one point, I think I was so past exhausted and angry in the world that I was at a stoplight and somebody, instead of crossing in the crosswalk, decided to cross diagonally, which made all four sides of traffic have to stop and nobody could go. And I just thought about hitting the gas and hitting him. Because it was like, how freaking rude can you be? That was the day I went to the hospital before I went to work and said, I need to see somebody. So, that's when I learned to ask for help. And I think I'm getting better at it. But
what do you struggle with?
I struggle with weight. I struggle with money issues. I struggle with never knowing if I'm really good enough, even though I know I can do things. And I think that's part of where not wanting to disappoint somebody comes in. And I never want to do wrong to somebody else. There's days I struggle with the fact that I used to smoke. I haven't for 12 years, but there's days I really want to smoke. It smells good.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the feel and the taste of it. And then there's days I say, oh, good, that person stinks so bad, I don't want a cigarette. So, I have all my own struggles. And then there's days I want to be with my family. And, of course, there's days you don't want to be with your family. So there's just always little things, but pick up, put your big girl panties on, and go on to the next day.
Can you talk about your eating disorder?
I love food. All kinds of food. And especially since I had quit smoking, it's just even harder to control. I've been on every diet that's out there. I remember one year I was on a diet where for a month I ate nothing but grapefruit and hard-boiled eggs.
Oh, wow. That sounds horrible.
Oh, it was. Then there was a diet where you drank nothing but aloe juice and took these pills, and you get to eat one meal a day. Then there's just plain old starvation. And then there's the one where you try to eat 6 or 7 small meals. And so you're trying to coordinate them, but not make sure it's too much. And Then there's intermittent fasting, and then I tried Overeaters Anonymous. I love food.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even necessarily for anxiety, for loneliness, or anything like that. I love cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I love baking. I love feeding people. I love trying new recipes. I like food. So,
Mm-hmm.
but one day I'll either end up being thinner or I'll still be enjoying food.
Do you want to be thinner? Or?
Of course.
Uh-huh.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
You know, prettier clothes, guys looking at you, just even feeling better for walking. You know, you don't feel as exhausted at the end of the day. Going for a hike isn't going to halfway kill you and send you to a heart attack. But it is something I struggle with every day.
What is that like? What's your other everyday? What is your everyday like?
Well, I usually start getting up around 2 o'clock in the morning right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I get to see each day is chocolate-covered donuts, fresh out of the deep fryer. You ever had an apple fritter, hot, covered with glaze? You don't even have to chew it because it melts in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how my days start.
Totally.
But I love what I do. I love creating, and I love baking and cooking for other people. So I got a pretty good job.
Are you on any special diets right now?
I've been trying the intermittent fasting again.
Okay.
But
How?
now that my daughter's home for vacation, I pretty much let it go till she leaves because, you know, got to take her to get the foods that she doesn't normally get when she's not here.
Yeah. What are some of those foods?
Oh, she doesn't get Cool Ranch Doritos over there. They don't get Mexican food that's very good.
Really? No Mexican food?
You're in Asia and Europe.
Oh, I was thinking turkey was in South America.
No. Yeah. But I mean, just things that she misses. Like she said, you can get a ranch dressing, but you can't get Hidden Valley ranch dressing or things. So, yeah, and then just getting to go and do things with each other. You know, take a long weekend. It's going to be a hotel room, which means meals out. And so you're not going to be as conscientious about it. So after she leaves, I'll get a little more concentrated on it again.
What's your favorite food?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Because you could go from a loaded baked potato to chocolate, which is always good. But then berries and cream are always great. And nothing wrong with a good steak.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'd have to say pretty much anything with chocolate. So like a flourless chocolate torte with a chocolate ganache, that's pretty heavenly.
Have you ever been ashamed of who you are?
Well, of course.
Uh-huh.
I think we all at one point or another, whether it's a decision that we made. You know, I know sometimes with drinking, maybe when I was younger, you'd say things that you really shouldn't have said. Or sometimes when I'm angry. Ooh, I've said some things when I was angry I shouldn't have said. But the smartest thing we ever find out is the thing that we shouldn't have said after we've said it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it were just, I don't know. I think more to losing my temper is my biggest thing, and my weight. You know, that bothers me. But then I had to learn that I am who I am, and my weight doesn't make me who I am. And if people don't like me because of my weight, they have a problem and I don't.
It's very true. It's very true. What would you say to someone that goes through the same things you do?
To just keep working at it. Love yourself for who you are. Yeah, there's going to be days you hate your body. You don't want to look in a mirror. You hate the clothes that you wear. But on the other hand, if you hate who you are, then you're really screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's more be who you are, take pride in who you are, love who you are, and the things that you want to change about you, change. And if they don't change as quickly as you like, it's okay. And just keep stepping forward. Tomorrow's a different day. You don't have any clue what's going to happen tomorrow.
It's very true. Do you think your ex-husband whatever he was like, do you think that affected you in your eating disorder and just who you are? Or
No, I've had this since I was a kid.
mm-hmm.
So no, that didn't. And I think us not being together just was another thing that made me stronger.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Very optimistic look through it.
yeah. But and when something bad happens or something we don't like, not necessarily a bad thing, but just that we don't like it, a lot of times we get down for a while and we start to blame ourselves, blame the other person. But ultimately, like I said, love yourself. And everything else will eventually fall into place. Is my life perfect? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Is it ever going to be? No. However, could you imagine me as a perfect person? There are days, I guess, they tell me at work that I think I'm perfect, but it's just enjoy life and enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm. Why are we given life? Why are we born?
Don't have that answer.
Give me
All I can say is that I believe that God or a higher power
mm-hmm.
wants us to experience something. We don't know what that is. Or, I mean, who's to say why life is life? But am I going to enjoy it? Yeah. To question it? Yeah. I don't have time for that. I got to more question what I do wrong and how do I have to fix it.
Uh-huh.
But life is there,
mm-hmm.
and death is there.
Mm-hmm. How come do you think birth leads to death?
Because everything has a time, everything has a season,
mm-hmm.
and we all have to go through those. But to me, it's not the birth, it's not the death, it's the journey,
the stuff
the
in
adventure,
between.
the stuff in between.
There you go.
Exactly.
What is the stuff in between?
Everything we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
The if, ands, buts, ors, whys, and why nots.
Uh-huh. I kind of meant just more like why are we given life? I guess I already asked you that, huh?
Yeah, but who knows?
Uh-huh.
And, that one, no matter what you think, no matter how deep it gets, none of us really have the answer on that.
Mm-mm.
So let's go on to something different.
Totally.
Let's move forward. Let's go have some fun with something else.
I love that. Kind of makes my podcast kind of pointless then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So go with the messy bits in between.
Uh-huh. So I guess this is like, just since we're on this topic, I feel like what's after life? What's after death?
For those of us that believe in God and have faith and trust in Him, everlasting life, not in the physical form that you see here right now, but as our souls, and that there will be no more pain, there will be no more sorrow, and only good will be there.
Mm-hmm.
For others, it could be hell. It could be an inferno, but it could, and also a version of hell could be you're stuck in some place like Siberia, just in the freezing cold, or Antarctica, so everybody's idea of an afterlife could be different, or depending on what we've done in our life, is there a person out there, an entity that says, you're going to live in a fiery hell, you're going to live in a freezing hell, you're going to live with peace and joy and happiness forever? I don't know, but I'll trust that there is, and I want to stay on the good side of him.
So do you think that, this is just a question, I'm not saying this is what you believe, you have to believe in God to get into heaven, even if you're a bad person, or do you have to be a good person to get into heaven?
No. And if you read the Bible, and even from what I understand from people with the Quran, you can be a bad person as long as you ask for forgiveness and believe in Jesus Christ, that He has died for us. Mm-hmm. You have the opportunity to go to heaven, but you have to be the one to ask. It isn't just handed. And people and I've talked about this before because like baptism, according to the Bible, you have to be baptized to enter the kingdom of heaven. So what happens when you have that child that the parent doesn't believe in baptism and all of a sudden that child is killed? Are they sent to eternal damnation because their parents chose not to do this? I don't believe that because I was taught that I have a great and just and giving and gracious God, that I believe he makes those decisions along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see him doing that to a child that didn't have the opportunity to make those choices.
Why would he create a child such as that in the first place?
What, that's going to die?
That will die at the age of 3.
Who knows?
Who knows?
My niece,
Uh-huh.
an absolutely marvelous woman,
Mm-hmm.
pregnant 9 months. She got to hold her son for 14 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then God took him home. Why? Who knows? Was it to make her stronger? Was the husband that she had at that point, was he good enough for her? Was he the right person for the two of them? Was he taking that little one out of that situation? Was he moving her on to something new? Who knows? And, I look at her now, and she has a new husband. She has 2 wonderful boys, and I just see strength in her, and I feel like it strengthened her. Oh, yeah, she hit rock bottom. Yeah, she lived in some pretty, mentally, physically crappiness. Is she a better person for just going through things? Of course. Is she a beautiful person inside and out before and after this? Yeah. But I don't know why those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for me to judge why those things happen. Am I always happy for them? No. We all do that. Oh, God, why did you do this? But how many times do we, look at the good and say, oh, God, thanks for doing this?
Mm-hmm.
We only sometimes it seems like we've gotten to this point that we only want to call on him when it's bad and we need his help. So, I think my great nephew leaving us, yeah, it sure beat the hell out of her. But I think she's a strong, beautiful, wonderful person, and that's a part of her story.
Mm-hmm. I like it. That was really good. What do you think deja vu is?
I'm wondering about that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a foresight in what's to come? I sometimes wonder. Because there's times like I feel things that are coming, and then when they happen, I go, whoa, I just saw that before. Somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's people that say that deja vu is like a 2-second time lapse where something happens 2 seconds for your brain to kick it all in, or it happens 2 seconds before it's supposed to. I don't know. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But it's kind of weird.
It is pretty weird. It is pretty trippy.
Yeah.
You have any examples of weird things happening to you that make no sense?
Well, there's times like I'll see somebody or a situation will happen and you're like, whoa, why did that? Or I saw that before or whatever. But I don't know. I just never been one to dwell for too long on those things. I like history. I like learning things. So yeah, there's some things like a yawn.
Mm-hmm.
You take a yawn for granted, don't you? You don't even know why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't. But you do it because it's a lack of oxygen to the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So you yawn to bring that in and hold it in and rejuvenate the body, give it time to suck up that oxygen. And we do it more if it's a warm room. Why? I'm not sure. Is there actually less oxygen in a warm room? I don't know. But they say, well, it's catchy. Well, because we're all in the same atmosphere. We're all breathing the same thing. We're all doing pretty much the same thing. Mm-hmm. So if I start to yawn, odds are you're going to yawn.
Totally. I already feel like my body wants to yawn now since we're talking about it,
So is it just a power of suggestion?
That is, I like that. You got any more little trivias like that? You said you like them.
I like trivia.
Seem like you got a lot of trivia. You ever go to like trivia night?
No, but I like learning weird and different
totally.
things. Paul Harvey he used to have a radio program.
Okay.
And he would tell a story, but you didn't get like the full detail to the last 30 seconds or so. And then he talked about mama's boys and how people put them down and how they usually seem to be, stuck by their moms and they're weaklings and this, that, the other thing. Well, turns out, and I don't remember exactly all of them, but I know that there were 4 presidents that were evidently mama's boys. George Washington and Abraham Lincoln were both mama's boys. Abraham Lincoln never even wanted to leave his mother's home. And look at what he's done.
It's true.
So, and that's back when you start stereotyping somebody or saying because of who they are, he's a mama's boy. He shouldn't be able to do anything. He should just be this like weenie little guy.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
It was Abraham Lincoln.
That's right.
That makes me feel good because I still live with my mom.
That's okay.
Oh yeah. So like when it comes to that, it's like I say this to people. It's like we don't stop and ask questions. We just look and assume, and we make our own narrative on that person or what's happening. We don't, like you were saying earlier about I don't know exactly what you said, but like when it comes to like Turkey, it's like we don't go the extra mile to learn about these things. We just take it as face value.
Or we've seen it in a movie and we assume that movie's correct. Well, let's look at Sharknado.
Okay.
Because I'm not seeing sharks flying through the air attacking people.
Not yet.
So, not yet. But so that's when it came down to when she said she was going to Turkey. And in my mind, all I could think of was movies where I had seen Middle Eastern things.
Yeah.
I didn't take the time to think, you know what? They're regular human beings like the rest of us. And there's lawyers and doctors and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, there are lawyers and doctors in Turkey, huh?
Yeah. But you don't think that because
you totally don't.
Yeah.
Like with like okay, this is like the same thing. It's like with Schindler's List, just like that movie, but just Nazi Germany. They were good Nazis.
Yeah.
And they were bad Jews. Like in Schindler's List, you have the police Jews that like one of them saves him, but they, succumb to the Nazis. The world is not black and white. It is a gray blob of everything.
But then let's take that a step further and let's go to the last 18 months in the United States.
Yeah.
How many people called the on their neighbors for not wearing a mask outside? I mean, in California and in New York, people were encouraged to call and turn in neighbors that weren't wearing masks.
Wow.
So when you talk about the good and the bad ones, yeah, there's people that wore the mask like they were supposed to. There's people that didn't. There are people like me that went, okay, I'm going to do it because you tell me I have to, but I'd rather hide in the back and not wear one, which is what I did majority of the time. Just if I had to go by other people, then I wore it.
Respecting others.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
But was I going to call somebody because you didn't have yours on?
Yeah.
And my daughter, God love her, it scares her more than it does me. And she's very much about doing it for the respect of somebody else. Mm-hmm. If you don't have right now, if you have a COVID shot, you can go without your mask. Well, we know there's a lot of people that haven't had a shot and then still are going with no mask. Mm-hmm. But my daughter, until she got her shot, said, I'm going to keep wearing my mask to protect other people if I were sick. So, I'm proud of those people as well. But the people that had to call and play the tattletale on their neighbors, yeah, we just need to slap them upside the head. But, so you have your good, your bad, those that follow society, those that don't. There's those that are bucking it, and there's those that are like, well, we have to do this. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's good, bad, and ugly everywhere.
Good, bad, and the ugly. I like it. What does your future entail for you?
Not a clue.
Not a clue?
Do I have ideas that I'd like it to include? Sure. I keep telling everybody, I want a 6'1" cowboy with tight jeans, a black Stetson, a wonderful ranch, lots of money, who's going to love me, take care of me, take me traveling.
I'm getting turned on just hearing that. Wow.
Is that what's around the corner tomorrow? Who knows?
Uh-huh.
I don't have to give up on my dream until I close my eyes for the last time. So I might as well keep going for it.
Totally.
But for tomorrow, I'm going to spend the day with my daughter. And the day after that, I'm going to go back to work because my 2 days off will be over this week. But I don't know what's coming, but I just hope it's always good.
Yeah.
And if it's not good, I just pray that I have the right people that are going to stand there, support me, have an arm or a shoulder for me to cry on, and move forward.
Beautiful. Do you believe in karma?
Oh, yeah.
How
It comes
so?
back to bite you. Just I believe that when you send out good, good comes back. And if you send out bad, bad will come back. I just hope I'm around when karma gets some people. Because there's some people that have been so mean and horrible to other people that you just go, really? I don't have the guts to pull out karma on my own on somebody that has wronged me or somebody else. I've seen them wrong somebody else. But I sure as heck hope karma nails them in the butt.
Has karma affected you?
I think so.
How so?
Because I've had a lot of great people. I've been through my garbage, don't get me wrong. But it just seems like good comes. I spent 3 years at a place that I adored, with a lot of people I adored, that didn't treat me right. And my last day there, I cried almost all the way home. Then I couldn't find a job for a month. But then I said, well, instead of looking at it as you can't find a job, look at it as I took a month hiatus. My new job's right around the corner. And it wasn't but a few days later, the new job came.
Yeah, totally. Do you think you putting that out there into the world, you having that realization, gave you the job?
Was it that?
Just your power of intuition.
Was it that? Or was it that I prayed to God and said, no matter what you choose to give me, strengthen me and make me take joy in whatever you give me, even though right now I don't see it and I'm angry or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I hope that the good that I send out comes back.
Yeah.
And I do believe that because I have people that I've worked with that I will be lifelong friends with, and those that will keep growing into lifelong friendships, and we'll be there to support each other. If it's a bad day, that person knows they can, pretty much all of you know that if you're having a bad day, pick up the phone and say, Sharon, I just need somebody to talk to.
Totally.
And I'll be there.
Totally.
And I also know those people will be there for me.
Could I leave your phone number in the description for people to call you?
I suppose, but we had to talk about a time because my sleep time is important when you get up at 2 in the morning.
Maybe we won't do that.
Yeah, that's
that
a good
was a sweet
idea.
thought, but they got hotlines for that.
They do.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, one of the things you told me was the Garth Brooks song, right? Where he's like, it's some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers.
That's right.
I really like that. I think that's very true.
And my daughter was one.
Yeah. How come?
Because I didn't think I wanted a child, especially out of wedlock, with not having that person there to help you. But she has been such a great joy, a great pride, a best friend. I mean, the Gilmore Girls, mom and daughter, that they just fit together and everything worked. And when they were separated, it caused just that emotional pain of being apart from each other. And we did. But yet I can tell her anything. We can go shopping. We can do anything. Man, if he'd answered my prayers, I would never had her. And then what? So sometimes, yeah, the unanswered prayer is the one we need.
Totally. What's your favorite movies and music?
I like a lot of the Christian music, the older stuff.
I
think for strength. But my favorite performer is Reba McEntire. I feel like she sends out a ton of strength for a lot of people. And like a lot of people don't even know that she goes and builds homes for humanity and
Wow.
other things. So that's really important to me. But I like all kinds of music, especially Christmas music. Love Christmas music any time of the year. I love Christmas movies any time of the year. But as far as favorite movies,
When's the last time you watched a Christmas movie? Which one
oh,
was
like
it?
2 nights ago,
What'd you watch?
The Christmas Card,
Uh-huh.
which was on the Hallmark Channel,
Wow.
because they're doing Christmas in July.
Are you sure you're not
So-
like 80?
So I'm DVRing them. Absolutely not. I loved Chris. If I wouldn't be called a horrible old redneck, I'd probably have my Christmas tree up all year long.
That's hilarious.
It's just, it feels good.
Oh, totally. Christmas is
Yeah.
a good time.
But as far as movies go, I mean, there's so many I love. But even back to like The Sound of Music, or one that I think you'd love, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. It's a musical,
Uh-huh.
but so good.
I'm not a huge fan of musicals.
Well, you
but-
might need to give it
But
a
hey,
try.
like you got to try things, right? If you don't, you just never know. You try everything. You
Yeah.
never know.
But then I love ones like Sweet Home Alabama. You
Uh-huh.
know, just that simple love that started as a child, but yet you have it through adulthood. Yeah, I like feel good movies.
Yeah. Not Schindler's List.
Oh no, I've watched that a couple of times.
Uh-huh. I just meant that's not very feel good movie.
No,
I think that's a
But-
very informative movie for sure.
that's right.
I love movies that make you just really appreciate who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm. But to me also, I think one of the reasons that I love the Christmas movies, and of course love story movies, there's so much negativity and garbage in the world that happens. Why would I want to put on a murder? You know what I mean? Why
Yeah.
do you want to bring in more bad into your everyday?
Totally.
Let's bring some smiles, some laughter, some fun. And that, the love stories, I think the part about it is just that spark in the beginning when they start to just feel that little giggle between them or that thing about that person that just makes you smile. To me, that's what love is. It's just that person or that thing that just makes you want to have them close, and just that thing that makes you smile, puts a spark in your eye.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like them.
I love that. That's very true. What do you want to put out into the world?
Happiness, love, strength, power. I mean, power in yourself, not somebody else having power over you. But just to, for people to remember that they have their own voice, they have their own strength. They just need to find it. And sometimes just even having somebody else around that has their strength helps to build you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think if people don't find their own, they just kind of waddle through life and don't find the excitement they could because they're not allowing it to open up and have that door available to them. And there's so much out there that you might as well find the good. And if it's bad, pack your suitcase and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Go to somewhere different. The one intervention thing that I really, really felt. I was going to see a therapist when I lived in the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minnesota in particular. And I was bouncing between, do I stay? Do I move somewhere else? What do I do? Do I get a different job? And I just couldn't decide. The therapist said, go home, write down the pros and the cons. I said, oh, my dad always told me to do that. Write the pros and cons, weigh them out, start thinking it out. And on my way home, I got a detour. Ooh, furious. I was just furious. Just wanted to go home. And I got a freaking detour. And there was this great big billboard, and all it said was, move. I literally had to stop and take a picture of the billboard because nobody was ever going to believe me that this great big billboard said, move.
That's crazy.
And then we made the decision to move. And yeah, I've still had tough times. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But do I regret the move? No. There's things I miss.
Mm-hmm.
good foods, the theater, some of the arts. But I made a move, and it's just a change. It's a new adventure.
Totally. So would you say that was the right decision?
Of course.
Beautiful.
Things will still go wrong no matter where you are, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And if I look at everything that's gone wrong or that I've done wrong and say it's a mistake, I could bring myself down.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs to go there?
Totally.
Yeah, I screwed up. Pick it up. Let's move on.
Your thoughts are very powerful, and they can define you.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's the old thing about what wolf you feed, you'll become. You ever heard that?
Yes.
And that's very true.
But that's also having positive people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with a few of them,
Mm-hmm.
including you,
Thanks.
that when there were days and you said, Sharon, you look like you just need a hug. Or Sharon, it's okay. We'll get through it. It's not as bad as you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Totally.
There are so many times I might have walked out of a job or, just put in my notice or whatever, if it weren't for people like you and others that just were there for that other little bit of strength.
Mm-hmm.
So draw off people that are around you.
Mm-hmm. We're not in this alone.
Nope.
I think a lot of people think that, and they make that very harsh decision of suicide because they just feel so alone. And like you said earlier, you just don't even know what tomorrow holds.
No.
Or the next day.
And you don't know if tomorrow is going to be your lotto day. I
Yeah.
mean, and not necessarily the lotto of winning $1 million or more, but is it your lotto of that perfect person's going to walk into your life?
You see the billboard that says move. Like,
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. My sister Diane, we're in this little town in Upper Michigan, the middle of nowhere. And this guy comes in and wants to buy a bottle of wine. And he and my sister met.
Mm-hmm.
He was from Washington. She's there in Upper Michigan. He came to visit a friend. All these years later, their kids, their grandkids, because he went to visit a friend. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I totally believe I believe that we all have a set, the plan, right? God's plan.
Right.
I totally believe there's the plan, and that we all have this set path in life, and you have to go down the right path. And the doors, like, let's say you close the door, it will always open up again at some point, but you always have to go down that. You just have to go down your path and make the right choices, and not succumb to negativity and fear and choosing the, like, quote unquote wrong choice. Like with that guy, it's like he could have stayed home and been, oh, I'm too afraid to do this, I don't want to go, I'm too afraid, and then he would never met the love of his life. But since he overcome that battle, made the quote unquote right choice, that's why he's there.
Yeah.
That's his path.
And he and a buddy that were in the military together, we're going to spend the summer riding motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know when right person is going to be put there, or it just, and it doesn't necessarily mean for love. It can just be for that strength and friendship. I have a chef friend who is like 20 years older than me,
Mm-hmm.
but I have felt like our souls connected as just soulmates so many moons ago, and we can go so many years without chatting with each other and pick up like it never changed.
Totally.
And you still are there for each other and everything. So he was my right person. He was my spirit person to be with.
Mm-hmm. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, he just made it sound like he was dead.
No, but it's just that he's back in Wisconsin and
Uh-huh.
I'm out in Idaho, and so now you've got so much space between you.
Totally.
But to know that there's those people out there that you could just connect with at any point in time that are there for strength and anything you need.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
I know we talked about a lot of stuff.
We did.
The only thing I can say was just live life.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride, the good and the bad, the ugly, and keep moving forward. No matter how bad things get, things can always change, and just rely on those that care about you and put it out there that you need the helping hand. There will be so many there for you.
Uh-huh. Cool. Well, if you have anything else to say, I think that's the end.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Sounds good. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to follow my social media accounts for news and updates on future episodes. Links will be down below.